The following program, Know the Cause, is paid for by Mediatrition Incorporated.
There is now irrefutable evidence that small amounts of intact peptides and proteins, like I said, milk, wheat, etc., do enter the circulation under normal circumstances. Do we all have gut permeability?
And the problem with understanding this is now you can see the way clear for treating it, but you're not just going to treat this, it'll treat that, it'll treat this other thing too, and pretty soon the problem with yeast is that it treats so many things because it's the fundamental chemistry.
For one, ours is definitely unique. There's no moving parts. No, there's no fans, no filters, nothing really to break down. It's absolutely silent.
And it's a non-guilty pleasure. Only 5 simple ingredients. Cough-in when approved, antifungal.
For the past 45 years, I have dedicated my life and my whole career to finding the root cause of disease. And I now know with certainty that we must play a role in our own health care. I'm a self-care advocate, and you know what? Every time you change your diet for the better, exercise, or swallow a nutritional supplement, so are you. Now welcome to Know the Cause. Before going into this area, I was working in clinical immunology, allergy and immunology. And in the 1970s, I worked with a guy named Howard Gottschalk, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. Wonderful man, tremendous character. Worked with him for several years. And then one day I said, uh-oh, I got problems. A research paper came to the top of my desk. We didn't have, all these searches and everything back then. You had to go to a library. Someone sent me a research paper. And the headline of the research paper, and you'll have to go with me on this, it's a little bit technical, but it changed my career. Antigenically intact food macromolecules exiting the gut lumen. Antigenically intact. I mean, you could tell if someone was passing this through their gut, right? But it brought up the whole idea way back then in the 70s of leaky gut. Is my gut leaking? Wait a minute, you got a lumen, you got a protective coating there, nothing's supposed to leak. And then I saw these high definition pictures that were taken in Germany of the mycelium form of Candida yeast. It grows tails, long threads, and it was poking a hole through an intestine of someone with a gut yeast problem. It was poking holes. Okay, that made total sense. You mean foods antigenically intact. You mean little bits of corn and wheat and milk and eggs were leaking through? What would happen if they leak through? They'll be accepted by our white blood cell, our immune defenses, immune system, and an exact mirror replica of that antigen, called an antibody, will be made, rendering it harmless in your bloodstream. But when you draw blood and look at antibodies being made, you would suspect these people are allergic to all these foods, that they're just making antibodies to you. So food allergy was a field that just fascinated me. I don't think food allergy exists without gut permeability existing. I don't like the name, but let's use it anyway. It's called leaky gut syndrome, and let's study it a little bit. This is 1988, so you know how far back I go. There is now irrefutable evidence that small amounts of intact peptides and proteins, like I said, milk, wheat, etc., do enter the circulation under normal circumstances. Do we all have gut permeability? Folks, we really might. I don't think before antibiotics, there was a whole lot of worry about that. I think post-antibiotics, antibiotics changed the terrain of the intestine. It kills bad bacteria. Thank God we're alive today because of it. But it kills good bacteria, and that's where your immune system is. And so when yeasts are allowed to grow filaments and grow wild through our intestine, they can poke a hole through the gut. Not a pretty picture, right? Just close your eyes and don't think about that. But in fact, that might be what's going on. So in goes the milk, in goes the soda pop, in goes the alcohol, chew up the bread, swallow it, and we're allergic to almost everything we're eating, or are we? Should we seal up the gut? Do you ever move out an apartment and you got to get some spackle, and cover the walls where all the holes in the pictures were? I don't encourage you to drink spackle. I don't want you to do that. But wouldn't it be cool if there was something that would seal up the gut? It seems that breastfed children, colostrum really protected that leakage from going on. So sometimes bovine colostrum or psyllium hulls really help seal up a gut, but I'm going out of my area here. Conditions associated with leaky intestines are autoimmune diseases, celiac disease, Crohn's, hives, acne, there it is, food allergies, of course, arthritis, joint problems, ulcerative colitis, Why'd I do all this? A whole lot of health problems are intimately linked with leaky gut syndrome. Here's the problem as I see it. The danger lies in observing the effect and believing it's the cause. Why, you've got inflammation in the gut. You've got Crohn's disease. What caused it? Well, we don't know, but don't worry, there's plenty of prescriptions coming your way. Don't you want to know the cause? If you could seal up the gut, and I think psyllium might really help, or look into bovine colostrum. This is cow colostrum as opposed to our mom's colostrum, but it still seems to work for a lot of people in sealing up a gut. Then change your diet. And I think you'll start feeling so much better. When we have leaky gut, as this article said, you know, bloating, belching, gas, constipation, diarrhea, GERD, etc., is going on inside our bodies. The danger lies in seeing that and saying, oh, that has a label. That's called cystic fibrosis in the case of lungs. That's called gut disease, IBS, in the case of other things. We know that NSAIDs can cause leaky gut. Ibuprofen, aspirin, Advil, Motrin, etc. Laboratory testing, ask your doctor to run a lactulose mannitol test. Lactulose mannitol test. And you can watch this show again on knowthecause.com if you miss it. Okay? That can be ordered by a doctor. It's a urine test. It's important that you understand a lot of us have leaky gut, and that can lead to a whole lot of health problems and inflammation far from the gut. It's good you know that now. What makes bread rise? What makes our intestine rise? Why is it two different things? Why is it unknown to science, and yet every bakery in America knows? You put a little yeast in, it begins to rise. What causes inflammation in the human body? Lisa joins me today. We're talking about the Pioneer. Folks, I wish every home in America had a Pioneer sitting in it. It just boggles my mind how we are consumed with fear over, you know, what might be in our vitamin supplement or GMO, genetically modified food or water that's impure. And yet we're sitting there breathing, what did you tell me, 3,000 gallons?
3,000 gallons on
air.
Average a year. Oh, excuse me, a day.
A day.
A day.
Just by inhaling.
Exactly.
I mean, and we do nothing about that. And it is a problem. This magazine I referenced earlier in the show, overall the most suitable application of photocatalytic air purification seems to be indoor air. The best fitting for photocatalysis is in the cleaning of indoor air, where pollutants are at a sub-parts per million level, and interfering substances such as dust and aerosols can be controlled at a minimum level. The ideal scenario for photocatalytic indoor air cleaning is to utilize ambient room temp, check, which requires the development of more active, visible light responsive material. Okay, so here's where I'm excited, because I want to show you, Lisa, this. This is an article, a 2009 article, several different types of air cleaning. And let's go all the way down to right here. They talk about the pluses and minuses, but considering the above limitations, photocatalytic oxidation, which is this, is proposed an ideal technology for air purification because it can degrade diverse air pollutants into non-toxic or less harmful forms using solar light under ambient conditions. So what magazines are saying, or scientific articles, if only we could get photocatalysis bouncing off, you know, a substrate, in ambient conditions, we could clean indoor air. What do you see when you look on, you know, any of the social media platforms, or open a magazine, or see all of these air cleaning units? Well,
For one, ours is definitely unique. There's no moving parts. No, there's no fans, no filters, nothing really to break down. It's absolutely silent. You know, you think about some of these other devices out there, you know, it's like buying a new piece of furniture. You've got to find a place to put it. It's very cumbersome and loud and expensive to maintain. Our product is small, sit it on a bookshelf, let it run, puts off a soft light blue. Most people enjoy it, like a night light. Absolutely nothing you need to do for 1 year. Once a year, we recommend you put a new lamp module in it, and that's it. So
and you can upgrade the lamp module. In other words, the box kind of stays the same. It's this, and I want to talk to you about something called Power or Point.
Smart Point.
Smart Point. It's this you replace. And if you have a 350 square foot home, you buy one of these and you plug it in and go another year. We leave it on when we're on vacation. You just leave it on 24/7. You can buy 750, or you don't have to buy the whole unit again, just the bulb, right? Or you can go all the way up to 1,500 square feet if you enjoy. SmartPoint is a little bit different, right?
So yeah, so thanks, Doug. A lot of our customers have decided to go with the SmartPoint, and it's a newer technology that we offer. The machine itself looks the same. The lamp replacements are absolutely the same. It is a built-in technology in the machine itself, which when the UVC light interacts with this circuit board in the machine, it emits about 3 times as many negative ions. So
Ooh.
3 times faster, ultimately. Highly recommended for people with a mold issue, odors, or in particular allergies.
There's really no downside to this. Put it in your home. If you're not perfectly happy that you're breathing better, or that all these dusts and mold and pollens and danders aren't gone, send it back. It's really that simple with this company. Thank you, Lisa, for what you do.
Thank you.
You bet. Some years ago, I began talking with a doctor out of Case Western Medical School in Ohio. What an amazing man he is. His name is Dr. Ghanum, and he has a son about my son's age, and we got to talking about our kids and grandkids and so forth. And lo and behold, this man has published so much on mold and disease that he and I became inseparable, and we talked to each other quite a bit. I've spoken with his son. I've met with his son when he comes to Dallas, and just a really, really sharp guy. Well, a few years later, a research paper came across my desk, and I almost fell out of my chair because it was written by him. Folks, I want to talk a little bit about a disease that tens of millions of you, especially your kids, suffer from, and we don't know what to do with that disease. Well, it's unknown etiology. Every chart in the world says we don't know what it is. Idiopathic Crohn's disease, idiopathic tachycardia. We don't know what causes it, but it's there. What if we did know the cause of it? Because now we do. Remember, in 1999, the Mayo Clinic said virtually all chronic sinusitis is linked to fungus. So why, when I have a chronic sinusitis problem today and I go to a clinic, do I get antibiotics? Antibiotics fuel fungus. Why wouldn't I get an antifungal medication? That would make sense. We're now finding the same thing coming true with another of my friends, a doctor out here in Denton, Texas, that I've talked about fungus. He is finding most pulmonary problems have a fungal cause. Now this doctor is publishing on Crohn's disease. Okay, look at this. What causes Crohn's? Not what medication can I take. Scientists have determined that fungus may play a key role in chronic intestinal inflammation, published in 2017, Digestive and Liver Diseases. Science has discovered that fungus plays a key role in swelling. Well, let me ask you this. If you mix wheat with some water, it becomes a sticky ball. Did your kids or grandkids ever put their hand in it and mark the date? You have it hanging there. It'll stay that way unless you put it in real heat, like 300 degrees, and add a little cake of yeast to it, a little bit of yeast. And then that little spongy wheat ball with water in it begins going like this. What makes bread rise? What makes our intestine rise? Why is it two different things? Why is it unknown to science, and yet every bakery in America knows? You put a little yeast in, it begins to rise. What causes inflammation in the human body? We don't know. Oh yeah, we do. What makes bread rise makes us rise. And what are we doing? Double that? We're eating the bread, right? And we're drinking the water. And then we're wondering why, we're 280 pounds. Well, you have a metabolic disorder. Okay, let's not go down that road. This is all about Crohn's disease. You, your kids, someone you know, is suffering from Crohn's disease. And the good news is these scientists, my friend included, he's the prime author, Dr. Ghanum, discovered that fungus plays a role in chronic intestinal inflammation. He went on to say, our groundbreaking discovery that bacteria, now everybody with Crohn's disease gets an antibiotic. Our groundbreaking discovery that bacteria, oops, there's those words, and fungi both play a critical role in health and disease, has tremendous implications not only for understanding the disease process, but also for the development of potential life-saving treatments for those who suffer from chronic digestive diseases. You might want to, if you have a doctor and you have Crohn's disease or irritable bowel, there's 100 different names for tummy problems. You might want to talk to your doctor about something really simple. If indeed Dr. Ghanum is right in this paper, and yeast and fungus play a role in this inflammation that's doubling you over with pain and is preventing your bowels from working and is just making you feel cramping and horrible, then maybe antifungals. There's one called nystatin. It's harmless. You can go to my website. Over in the right-hand corner of the website, I have a little tiny box with a picture of a doctor on it. This is a doctor's fungal understanding. Click on it, print out the 2 pages. It talks about nystatin. Take it to your doctor, it's all referenced, and make sure that he or she can help you. Then go on the Kaufman diet, starve the fungus, begin killing the fungus with a fungistatin drug called nystatin, and see if in 1 month you're not feeling much, much better. Why? Because fungus, they're finding, is the cause of gut diseases now.
Hi everyone, Erin with Eat, Pray, Get Well. Welcome back to our kitchen, and welcome back Dominic. He's here to share one of his favorite go-to sweet treats.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite go-tos, and it's a non-guilty pleasure. Only 5 simple ingredients, Kaufman when approved, antifungal, easy to make, and it tastes great.
Well, let's go get started. In a bowl, I'm going to combine 1 cup of unsweetened coconut flakes, 1 cup of almond butter, 5 tablespoons of xylitol, 1 egg, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and just a pinch of salt. Now I have a block of dark chocolate, no sugar, no unhealthy fats added, and it has to be used in moderation on the Kaufman 2 diet, or just use carob chips, which I do very often. And this is optional, but I like to add a bit of nutrition, so I'm going to throw in some flax seeds and some chia seeds. Sometimes I'll add some extra nuts, but you don't have to do that. And now I'm going to mix it really well, put it on a cookie sheet, and put it in the oven at 350 for about 10 to 11 minutes. Now just let them cool on your countertop and enjoy. Well, thanks so much for watching. I'm Erin for Know the Cause.
I think I can best describe Dr. Trowbridge as a scrapper, as a guy who will go to town with you, as a fighter.
Got you 6.
It's just so fascinating. Here's a guy who goes to Stanford undergrad and big medical school, gets his master's degree in nutrition, school, and peers tend to totally dislike him. So where I'd like to go in this segment, the next few minutes, is to have you better teach my audience with all of your credentials. A patient can walk into a doctor's office and say, I finally figured out my migraines, it was yeast, and the doctor will throw your book in the trash.
Absolutely.
I thought it was one thing to have my books thrown in the trash, but you, what are they missing?
But you've got several they can throw
Right,
in.
13 of them. What are your peers missing?
What they're missing is very simple. Okay, we start medical school. First year, we're learning physiology, how things work. Second year, pathology, how they work wrong. Third year, what to do to treat the pathology, okay? But if you want to treat yeast, you got to go back to that second year about how they're working wrong. Because see, in the second year we learned that the #1 step in healing and repair, absolutely essential, inflammation. And in the 3rd and 4th years, we'd learn how to prescribe anti-inflammatory medications. And you go, wait a second, there's a disjunction here.
A chasm, right?
And so the thing is, they literally have to go back and understand the physiology and the pathology differently than they were taught. Because remember, a lot of medical school teaching is just to get through the exams, okay? Now I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor now. And the thing is that in my case, I just really had to go back and hit the books because I needed to understand this. And the problem with understanding this is now you can see the way clear for treating it, but you're not just going to treat this, it'll treat that, it'll treat this other thing too, and pretty soon the problem with yeast is that it treats so many things because it's the fundamental chemistry.
It's the cause.
It's
so
know
many
the cause, absolutely.
I've always found this, I've been critical of this because it can be answered or resolved in 4 words, right? My CRP is elevated, my C-reactive protein is elevated, and the doctor says, you're inflamed. Man, I'm worried about your heart, I'm worried about your, you have inflammation going on in your body. My 4 words, what makes bread rise? Could that same yeast not be causing that inflammation in your body?
It absolutely could. And the reason is very simple. We are wet, warm, and wonderful. Therefore, well, it's like people know about strep throat, they know about getting pneumonia and all this other stuff. They know about skin infections. What they don't understand is that yeast might actually be much more prominent as infections in the entire world than any bacterial issues. But what do we treat? Bacterial issues with antibiotics. But we do have good yeast antibiotics. And you know what? A number of them are herbs.
Right.
Okay. Whoops. That's a problem. You know, where are we going to patent that one? And so the problem really is how to coach people with what they need to learn. But now the doctor first has to learn it before he can share that. You know, my job, really what I'm looking at is not what you bring in now. We'll take care of that. I want to coach you for the next 10, 15 years, health habits that will make your life dramatically different. That's a whole different kind of doctoring, and I can't do it in 7 minutes, you know, and my next patient. And so many doctors are now in clinics. There are very few solo doctors like me.
You know, the greatest salute you and I have ever had, how many doctors, how many nurses are now going in to studying yeast and yeast syndrome.
Thank goodness.
Million-seller book.
Finally.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Good to see you again.
Great.
Thanks. There is now irrefutable evidence that small amounts of intact peptides and proteins, like I said, milk, wheat, etc., do enter the circulation under normal circumstances. Do we all have gut permeability?
And the problem with understanding this is now you can see the way clear for treating it, but you're not just going to treat this, it'll treat that, it'll treat this other thing too, and pretty soon the problem with yeast is that it treats so many things because it's the fundamental chemistry.
For one, ours is definitely unique. There's no moving parts. No, there's no fans, no filters, nothing really to break down. It's absolutely silent.
Welcome back, Dominic. He's here to share one of his favorite go-to sweet treats. To mix it really well, put it on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven at 350 for about 10 to 11 minutes. Now just let them...
What makes our intestine rise? Why is it 2 different things? Why is it unknown to science, and yet every bakery in America knows? You put a little yeast in, it begins to rise.
The preceding program, Know the Cause, was paid for by Mediatrition Incorporated.